documentary on the preparation of nurses. I can't have the information I now have. And for Dakota especially, it's just
So you start to think about this object of food, and it's vegetables, fruits and vegetables,
Good evening and welcome to the Teter Farm to Table Dinner here at the Purgatory Golf Club. We'd like to welcome you to this very important fundraiser for the Teter mission to reduce food insecurity in Hamilton County. And let me share a little bit what's going to happen this evening, and hopefully you'll stick around for the entire program that'll last until 8:30 p.m. We're going to have a series of videos to start out with that feature the Teter mission, some of the community engagement we participate in, as well as hearing from Katie Rogers, her dream for the farm. You'll see some of the latest developments taking place, and included in that will be some promo videos of our sponsors that has made tonight a very successful event. Then we'll hear directly live from Anita Hagan with the Hamilton County Harvest Food Bank, and then from John Elliott, who is the CEO of Gleaners Food Bank of Central Indiana. We'll share a couple of words, and then we're going to go around the room and get some comments from the people who've been attending here tonight. Thank you for attending. Let's pause for a moment of silence, and then I'll have an opening prayer to get our evening started. Lord, we begin first thinking of those who perished in that attack 19 years ago in New York City, as well as other places in the country. We let our hearts go in empathy to the pain and loss that still, I'm sure, is being felt by loved ones. We pray for our country, that we might remain united in the face of adversity, and especially tonight when we remember those who don't have enough food to put on the table. May it remind us of our unity to care and love for all persons on this earth. Bless this gathering tonight, encourage our generosity, and may we be your people. In the name of Christ, who is our Lord. Amen.
Good evening. My name is Greg Wright. I am a dentist and owner of a dental office on the east side of Indianapolis. Bailey & Wright Dentistry is a full-service, dentist-owned family practice located at 1035 North Post Road on the east side of Indianapolis. My father-in-law, Dr. David Bailey, started the practice in 1979. His brother, Dr. Joseph Bailey, started in 1984. I joined in 1998, and my brother, Dr. Jeff Wright, joined in 2005. We are truly a family practice that is serving the families of Central Indiana. My father-in-law, Dr. David Bailey, retired, but his brother, myself, and my brother are pleased to carry on his legacy. What we are most pleased and proud of is our staff. We truly feel we have the most professional and caring hygienists, office assistants, and dental assistants around. My family and I have been members of Noblesville First United Methodist Church for close to 15 years now. And we have seen Teter grow from a seldom used piece of property to the magnificent retreat, organic farm, and worship venue that it is today. Thanks to your support this evening, Teter Organic Farm can continue to reduce the food insecurities in our area. Please feel to contact me directly for more information about our practice. Thank you again for supporting Teter Retreat and Organic Farm. I look forward to watching it grow.
People are struggling to decide between paying the rent or the mortgage and getting groceries. The vision for Teter Organic Farm was to meet not only the food insecurity problem head on and provide people with something to eat, but provide them with something nutritive to eat. When we take food to the Hamilton County Food Bank and it goes out through the food pantries, or when people call the farm and ask us if we have some food that they can have, or when the church is feeding people through Dinners on Us, what we're doing is trying to provide them with something that will address their immediate need, but also help correct that potential deficit that's going to hurt their health in the future. The tunnel growing that we do here enables us to start our season earlier and to grow well into the winter. What I've noticed at the food bank is that during the farmers market season, other farmers are also providing food that's going out, produce that's going out specifically. That's what I keep an eye on. And during that time, we have our CSA season. So a lot of our stuff is going out to the CSA that helps fund our donations. But I saw early in the year, and I anticipate late in the year, where the produce donations to the food bank trickle off. And we want to help fill that gap. It's really important that we use our resources and everything that's available to us to find those gaps and meet that need. And so we're looking to grow through October and hopefully through part of November this year and be able to donate. And then we'll take a look at the resources that we have available and see how early in the year we can start. If you'd like to help Teter, you can participate and interact with us in several ways. You can volunteer on the farm. Our volunteers are absolutely mission critical. We have people out here who do all forms of physical labor, but also folks who come out and lend their knowledge in marketing or in volunteer organizing, in cleaning cabins. There's all kinds of work that can be done. We have work year-round here because we grow in the tunnels and the greenhouse, so it slows down in the winter, but we could always use your help. We have opportunities for families and children to come out and get things done, so our volunteers are mission critical, and we encourage everyone to come out and participate and see what we have.
They wanted to bring chickens to the farm to teach other people about chickens and about the farming processes out here. Hi, my name is Teter. I'm a senior at Noblesville High School, and this is my Girl Scout Gold Award project. So I introduced chickens to Teter, and I decided to do this project because with my Girl Scout troop, we volunteered at a food pantry where I learned that about 27,000 people in Hamilton County are suffering with food insecurity. We have donated over 10,000 eggs to 2 different locations.
There are so many things here that help teach about the ecosystem and about life cycles. We've found ways to spend time one-on-one with people and bring families out to do projects so kids can get their hands in the soil, so that they can learn a little bit about the life cycles that are happening on the farm. And it's not just kids who are learning at Teter. We have adults who come out and we deal with environmental issues. We learn about invasive species and native species, all kinds of management practices. It's really been a great place to have the community know that they can come and ask questions.
When I grow up, I want to be a farmer, and my grandma told me and got me into this, and I love it. I like Teter because it's just in the country, and I like how much freedom it gives everybody to come out here and see the chickens and work out here.
It's a really great place to have kids actually kind of see what's happening that ends up on their plate later. I think of Teter as a place that is supposed to feed our mind, our body, and our spirit, or our sense of community. We have the very physical aspect of people being able to congregate at Teter. Even though COVID's going on, we have a lot of open space, and so we can still get groups together here, and it's been really neat to see people who couldn't otherwise meet. They couldn't go to their normal building or classroom to be able to come to Teter and sit out in the shelter and spread out, and put a really good distance between them and still have some sense of group gathering. Teter is a place of respite and community building, whether it's people renting cabins and the lodge for events, weddings, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, youth groups, families coming out. RCSA is a great community builder. We have people who come out and spend time in the Peace Garden, people who come out and spend time on the playground, walk the trails, bring their families out to picnic. It's really nice to see all of the activity that's happening at Teter and all the people that come out. I can't say enough about our volunteers. They're incredible, and there is a very family-like aspect to volunteering at Teter. We get to know each other, and we get to have great conversations while we're, sometimes doing really intense work. But it's a really remarkable group of people that come out and spend time here, and we want to see that grow. We want to continue inviting in our neighbors and people to participate with us out here in this beautiful space. There's such a desire at Teter to make sure that we are building community in our neighborhood. It's been really amazing to see neighbors walking down on Saturday mornings with their masks on and stand around and have coffee and spend time and talk and I know that for a lot of us that's missing right now. So having all of this space has been a wonderful opportunity for us to say, you can come out here and we can stay apart and we can still be together.
I really enjoy working out in the vineyards. It's kind of an art form on how to prune them. It took me, a few years to develop. Spencer Farm started out as Spencer's U-Pick and was strictly just U-Pick strawberries. And that started in 1982. That was started by my parents, Kyle and Lori. And then we've gradually grown some more, and then now we'll have upwards of 400 cars out here sometimes during strawberry season. The farm has strawberries, blueberries, red raspberries, asparagus, table grapes, and now we're doing a sunflower experience as well. The winery started taking shape late or mid 2018, I think is when we started renovation on it. And it's an 1880s farmhouse. We think that it was built in 1883. And we tried to keep as much of the original floors and different things like that. This chimney behind me is original. And then part of the brick in our tasting bar is original as well. So kind of wanted to provide that farmhouse experience. People can kind of come enjoy and enjoy the quaintness of it, I guess. We just really wanted to provide an experience out here on the farm to where it's very family friendly and just where people can kind of get outside, enjoy the outdoors, and spend time together.
The mission of Teter helps us to get closer to the idea of stewardship and care of creation in a few different ways. I've always been very interested in nature and wildlife, and that hasn't changed throughout my life. I feel it's important these days. I know it's important, especially these days, to take our stewardship and responsibility of our whole habitat, not just the area where we live in our home, in our house, in our apartment, in the city, wherever, but we have a responsibility to care for all of creation, because that is where our wholeness comes from.
My name is Kim Gowan, and I became familiar with the Teter property through Jonah primarily, and all the work that he's done. I worked on the farm for a season or two, and then he let me know that there were opportunities for invasive control in the area. In the recent years, we're seeing evidence, and evidence is here, that there's a strong attack of all these properties by invasive species. And we see that here in the Teter property, in the totality of the 120 acres that's here. Our goal is to maintain as much as possible the biodiversity of the area. We're using Teter and our work at Teter as an educational experience for people that don't know so much about invasives, and also a means to help us understand how to attack the species that we don't want wiping out all our native species within our parks and recreational areas.
By using the habitat along the White River, allows for flourishing of wildlife, flora and fauna to survive. It increases the healthiness of our waterways. And in our agricultural processes, We are beginning to integrate the natural philosophies, if you will, of soil health. And we are now looking to install some perennial plants such as the berries, raspberries, blackberries, as well as some tree crops, fruits, and nuts. Those are all very important to stabilizing our soil in this area and regaining the soil health that we lost over many years of conventional farming practices. If you would like to get connected, check out the website to get connected with volunteer activities at teterorganicfarm.com. All you have to do is log in, sign up, and see all of the opportunities available.
I'm Tom Endicott, and my wife Jenny and I have attended church here for 10 years or so. Jenny's actually been here, I think, for close to 25 or 30. I'm a real estate agent, and I serve the southern Hamilton County area, so Noblesville, Fishers, Carmel, Westfield, those areas. My philosophy as an agent is that we come from the heart of a teacher, and we're helping people make good long-term real estate decisions. And we do that with the guidance of my knowledge, experience, and resources, and we do it with integrity. Every transaction we treat as if it were our own, and we want to make sure that we're helping people make good long-term decisions. Jenny and I became supporters of the Teter Farm to Table project for a couple different reasons. Jenny is a way more healthy eater than I am, so she just believes in that from the get-go. I'm not quite as healthy, but I aim to be. But one time when I was delivering food to the food pantry, I saw Dinty Moore up there, and I thought, who eats Dinty Moore? I mean, I used to when I was in college or young and didn't have a big budget. But there's no health magazines or articles that the last time I read or saw said, hey, for a better diet, eat more Dinty Moore. So that made me start to think about this project is good and that it gets vegetables, fruits and vegetables, leafy, green leafy vegetables to the folks that need it.
Welcome to everybody that's joining us on the live stream this evening. We're glad you could come. Thank you to everyone who is here in person. I am so excited to see you guys tonight. To stand behind the fun fish tank here. And thank you all for taking this opportunity to support us in the Teter mission to reduce food insecurity in our community. You and I are part of something much bigger than ourselves. Through collective action and because of follow through by passionate individuals, people who would go to bed hungry tonight, folks in our community have a meal, and that's not a small thing. Many of us who are sitting here have never actually been hungry. We've never had to look at our kids and feel the fear in our gut that we can't feed them, or know when our next meal is coming. But many of us have. Our coworkers, our classmates, our teammates, our elderly, and our vulnerable, many of them have stories and experiences we'll never know and we'll never hear about, we'll never experience. Every week at Teter, people are putting their time, their minds, their bodies, and their money where their heart is. They're living their beliefs. And so we are here tonight working towards those values, and I get to work with all these incredible people. From the church staff and Lewis, the operations team, and the other so much gratitude. I'm amazed at what you accomplished. So if you have ever volunteered at Teter, would you please raise your hand? And we have so many more volunteers watching on the live stream tonight. We're grateful for you. In addition to the volunteers, we have people who provide services at little or no charge to help us out. And tonight we'd like to recognize one of those people in our community. Many of you know that our neighbors, the ones with the horses, as they're affectionately identified in our community, they've been Teter allies for a while. Jonah introduced me to them before I was even on site working, and they were the welcome wagon when I did move in. Robin and Hyde have been friends and the people that we call for so many things. Hyde is the owner of Profim Motorsports, and when I need mechanical help, he's on speed dial. And it happens a lot. So I can't count the number of times he showed up in a moment's notice because we can't find the source of a leak, or the mower's done something strange, or I can't get a bolt off, or we don't have the right tool, or any number of things. So Hyde's always there for us. When we couldn't find someone who had time to fix the tractor, he went and picked it up, he got all the right equipment, and he did it himself. Oh, and there's more. My favorite part of this story, this year Lena Hamashek came to the farm, and she wanted to do her Girl Scout Gold project around composting and teaching us to take kitchen scraps and make them into something valuable. Close the ecological loop a bit, prevent some waste. I love this idea. I'm super excited because we want to improve our soils, we want to reduce our costs, and compost is the fast track to that. But y'all, Teter needs a lot of compost. So enter our helpful neighbors. Robin and Hyde not only helped us source all the biological waste that we need, and it's a lot, but Hyde drives around the county and picks it up and delivers it to our compost station, free of charge. And for all of this, Teter would like to say thank you and give you this year's Silent Hero Award. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to all of you volunteers. We wouldn't be doing this without you. It takes this entire community. And now, we're going to turn our attention from the production side to the distribution side of getting fresh food into our community. Every Monday morning, we take a short drive to the Hamilton County Harvest Food Bank to drop off the week's donations. They are graciously extending the season so that we can do that further into the winter. There are smiling faces and busy hands, all masked and gloved when we get there, taking care of the donations as they come in and go out. The collection and coordination they do is critical to our mission. And so it is with gratitude that I get to introduce Anita Hagen, the Executive Director of the Hamilton County Harvest Food Bank.
Different looking. Thank you so much, Kate. Can you hear me? Okay. That just brings, so much gratitude to my heart. I mean, I talked with you last year. It was a different scenario, and that's all we've heard all this whole year is, well, we're doing things different, and yes, we are. But today when I was thinking about this, I really wanted to say we are not doing any less. So that is a blessing. What I want to share, I look out these faces, I look at friends, I look at, the people who come and join us, Katie or Betsy or, and they come and find their way to us every Monday morning, and they are doing so much more. So this coronavirus thing just takes creativity and the blessings of all of you. So thank you for that. We applaud all of you who support Teter Organic tonight, especially applaud the farm crew and volunteers who have been going above and beyond. We did a recent survey with a lot of the pantries that we work with. At Hamilton County Harvest Food Bank, for those of you who don't know, we work with over 40 food pantries and meal programs all across Hamilton County. And at about the same time Teter was starting, we started serving produce. We serve it out of Ivy Tech Community College. And the pantries line up on Monday morning, but before that, we've gathered produce from the farmers markets and different places, mostly all local, and put that together, and we give it out. And it goes out to families, and now families all across the county, as Katie said, and the children and everyone else, they are blessed by having produce, which is just something that's not always in their diet. It's a really big deal. So that's one of the things that we are really proud to do. So anyway, so they show up, and one of the things we found out on our survey that the biggest problems with the coronavirus was, and the pantry said this is the problem with food supply, logistics with food supply and distribution. So any of you working, it has been really hard. It's like we get creative, like crazy creative, but it's just hard to figure out how to do something new every day and do it safely and everything. But Teter, they just took that off our plate. So they just said, we're going to bring it to you. And even before we knew we could open back up at Ivy Tech and be doing what we were doing there, they brought it to the food bank. They were the very first producer this year that came in, and in May, when we didn't even know if we could collect at the farmers markets, they brought in produce, and we were handing it out where we hand out our non-perishables. And they have stayed with us every single Monday morning. They bring it in, and the team, I have to mention our team at the food bank. So Janet Guffian is here tonight. She's our Meals for Kids. Wave your hands. She helps. We also have, and we have the same team every Monday morning. It's a very well orchestrated. You saw all the ballerinas out in the hallway. Well, we have this little ballet going on that looks like chaos, but Katie's seen it. It's an orchestrated ballet. So Pat Cox and Rick and Jackie Young, Linda Stern, Doug Malin, our intern, Emily, who came home from college in March and just stayed and helped every Monday. And then we have a bunch of families who said, we're going to go out to the farmers market and still pick up food. So they pick up at Noblesville and Fishers. And as families, they can do it safely, and they just stayed doing it. So, but that's what we've had going on. Our produce distribution, so as I said, we were very nervous that, come May and June, Fishers was starting just with online donations and or online distributions. We didn't know if there was going to be produce. We actually have now distributed 112% more distributions of produce this summer than we did last year. So God is very good. Everyone here tonight knows that. God is very good. And He will always bless us. He blesses us with this partnership that we are having with Teter. I mean, they're going to extend their growing season. That's been on one of our long-term goals. In the same survey, the pantry members, they've said their families have said, this produce, it helps improve our diet, it helps improve our health, it helps improve our children's health. This is just so important to us. So with this partnership, we have the ability to continue beyond the growing season as we typically know it, and that just brings joy to my heart. And I just can't say thank you enough. So I know that we're going to continue to hear more of some of the wonderful things they've done, but if you haven't had the chance, also go out and visit them at the farm. It is beautiful. You'll just, you know, in this season of unrest and uncertainty and whatever, you'll go away just calmer and happier, and it's a blessing. So I say thank you again.
And for those of the live stream, I think I forgot to mention who I was before I talked earlier. I'm one of the pastors at Noblesville First, Jerry Raridan, and I'm also a member of the Teter operational team.
Yes.
So we work together as church and the farm to do this great mission. I get the pleasure of first mentioning that I know we've had some great videos shown, and I guess we've been so isolated, we're really talkative tonight. So you may have missed some of the messaging that we've shared tonight, but Lydia Pavich, would you wave your hand, Lydia? Lydia's one of our new staff persons at Noblesville First. She's our media specialist, and she's put all this stuff together. So you want to go home and go to the Noblesville First UMC YouTube page, and you'll find all these videos, and you'll find the 45-minute live stream that's being shown right now with our audience, and you can experience that in case you're too talkative to catch some of that, because a lot of the great message about what's happened at the farm took place in those videos. Now, I have the pleasure to introduce somebody that I think is one of the greatest people on this earth, and certainly in the state of Indiana. John Elliott is a native of Noblesville. He graduated from Noblesville High School in 1980. He currently leads one of the largest food banks in the United States. They distribute more than 35 million meals per year to 300,000 Hoosiers in 21 central and southeastern Indiana counties, and those numbers have skyrocketed from that this year, and he'll tell you about that. He's been CEO of Gleaners Food Bank since 2016. Before that, he worked with Kroger as the public affairs and media spokesperson for Kroger. And during his time with Kroger, they saw their contributions to charitable activities increase to more than $15 million. He's done great work wherever he's been, and he's doing that now. He's also served as a diplomat with the U.S. Department of State. Also worked overseas with a corporation. But what I want you to know is that he is continuing this work. I'm still mad at him because he just moved to Brown County. He was just one of the great resources we had at the church, but I still got his phone number. I can call him anytime I want, and we'll do that. But thank you, John, for coming tonight. Thank you for supporting this mission. Let me say quickly that he has a wife, Karen, who's a school counselor. They have 3 children that are either in college or grown, and so that allowed him to go ahead and move down to the hinterlands of Brown County. John, come and tell us about what Gleaners is doing and how Teter impacts that.
I said it's a short list of people, and I would have headed north at the end of a long week instead of south to come here. So, for Jerry, I came, and for all of you to say thank you. Because this daunting mission of feeding our hungry neighbors is bigger than each of us, but it's not bigger than all of us combined. So Gleaners may be the largest player in that space, but we don't aspire to do it alone at all. So what I want to do is sort of share remarks from 3 perspectives. One, give you a little insight into what we do, and also talk about the value of produce and the change that we've seen in the system towards a focus on healthy, nutritious food. But then Jerry indicated you might be a little bit curious about what the pandemic has changed in our world, and it's very dramatic. So I'll try to touch on the 3 things. So first of all, think of us as part of a national network called Feeding America. The 200 food banks that are all different, and we're certainly, as Jerry said, one of the larger players, unfortunately, because that's a contest you don't want to win. That means you have too many hungry neighbors, but we do. In that space, we cover 21 counties, about 1/3 of Indiana's population, including this county. We also do disaster response for the network across the country. We do surplus food and non-food reclamation on contract for Kroger across Indiana and Illinois. And then our more recent role, which is really why I'm very focused on this topic, we launched a new regional co-op on behalf of the network in the spring of 2017 to capture the largest share of that 40% of U.S. food that's wasted every year. 40% wasted in this country. And the largest single component is produce. So we went after that pretty aggressively. Prior to spring of 2017, Gleaners got 0 pounds of fresh produce straight from the farm. We'll finish the fiscal year a couple years later, at the end of this month, with over 30 million pounds captured. So pretty phenomenal growth, and we still have a gap. As an organization and through our hundreds of partner organizations, we are singularly focused on closing the meal gap. We wake up every day thinking about how we're going to feed those hungry neighbors we're responsible for, but we frankly think more about those we're not feeding. All data is suspect now. I'll still share some data with you, but look at it cautiously. Before the pandemic, we still had 153 million meals missed every year in this state. Now it's at least double. So we've gone the wrong way with the pandemic, but we will close that gap. The other thing I would tell you is to think separately about the medical recovery timeline that this pandemic will present. I'm sure we've got some healthcare professionals in here, and you're focused on when we all get an immunization and when we have a coast is clear message medically. Those of us who are supporting the hungry and other poverty challenges and so on will be dealing with a multi-year economic recovery timeline. It's not a valid comparison one way, but just to explain, the economic downturn in 2008, the height of need, the longest food lines for 2010, as families slowly depleted resources, and the recovery was 2014. So I'm not predicting it's a single year, I don't know how many years, but it's a multi-year. So as you're thinking about investments in Teter and what is the role, we're not talking about now to next spring or next summer planting season. It's going to be a longer multi-year recovery. What we've also done is try to approach it from two directions. So there's a lot about growing our capacity, growing our distribution, getting more with every dollar we spend, more meals per dollar, so to speak, efficiency, but we also are trying to reduce the line by hundreds of partnerships that can help with employment and housing and health, transportation, and so on, so that households can get the solutions the way they wrestle with the challenges simultaneously. They're not dealing with hunger and isolation or housing and isolation. So a lot going on. So produce is huge in terms of impact. And we're focused on the nutritional value and moving health indicators. The top 10 chronic health conditions are affected more by the food people eat or don't eat than household income or any other factor. So when you're providing produce, you are affecting health. And I'm talking about diabetes and stroke, other cardiac diseases, particularly with kids. I also would say think about not just the immediate effect of handing a family a meal, think about the long term. I think we can all relate to the kid who arrives at school hungry on Monday, if they're going to school. And we think about what does that do for the spelling test or the math test and their ability. But think about a child in those growth years. They're physically growing differently, but also the brain. The cognitive development of their brain is stunted by poor nutrition. So we are setting up every one of those children for a lifetime of disadvantage. So there are long-term effects on this. So again, produce is a key piece of this. And as we've done that produce, we've layered in all that investment that we've made in distribution of that. We've layered in protein, we've layered in dairy. Going into this pandemic, again, data is different, but families in the food insecurity lines typically received 5% of the USDA recommended dairy and eggs. So that eggs are a great opportunity. You can can move that from 5% to something greater with the egg side of things too, not just produce. So a little bit about the pandemic, because Jerry's going to give me the high sign at some point, or some warning, I think. But think about an organization that depended on over 20,000 volunteers a year to do 40% of the labor. And we had to shut volunteers out of the building because of the health protocols. But in the meantime, our work had more than doubled. Every job changed. The work got more complex. We lost 2 out of 4 distribution channels when the schools closed. The school meal programs provide 2 meals for all meals from the nonprofit sector combined. And they stopped. But in the meantime, we had backsack programs to feed kids over the weekend. That stopped when the schools opened. We had 57 pantries in schools. They're behind lockdowns. Now, one at a time, we've been able to get the school pantries back online. About half of them are opening. But when you have that disruption, that means all of the remaining locations had to take on a greater burden. I'm sure you've seen a volume pick up in your pantries, right? I think you said 112%, something like that. It's similar. The ones that are open are at least double, some as much as 4 and 5 times the previous volumes, but they can't let client households come inside for protocols. So we did, really in the space of 24 hours, leaders set up a drive-through pantry protocol that St. Vincent de Paul picked up, and other pantries. It's now the standard statewide, where they're driving home with 3 boxes. The trade-off is that took away the dignity of client choice to come in and shop for what they want among the options. They had to take the box that we literally, there's no contact, they roll through. And pantries that were doing 200 to 400 households in a distribution day are now doing almost 2,000. So the need's dramatic. It's also, think about the supply chain. I think you may have mentioned the supply chain as well, but for the entire existence of food banks, 40 years in our case, 50 years since the first food bank, the largest single source of food is retail food surplus, retail stores. The Krogers, the Aldis, the Walmarts of the world. That stopped. Because their stores, I'm sure those of you that were trying to shop at the Kroger on Logan Street or wherever you shop in March and April, and still to some extent, very disrupted. So we lost our largest single source of food. Alan, you may need to help me with the math on this. You're the first banker I recognize in the room. But so before the pandemic, get your calculator? Before the pandemic, we bought 8.5% of the food we distributed. Since the second week of the pandemic, we've been buying over 40% of our food that we distribute. So about 42% on average. A lot, right? Yes, a lot. That's your mathematical conclusion, right? But for years, generous companies have given us a substantial discount when we do shop and go out in bulk, General Mills and Crafts and so on in the world, so we pay half wholesale. So what happens when those companies are getting strident, urgent calls from all the retailers that they better get food first? Guess where we are in line, even with food to shop. So our discount was gone. So the price of everything doubled. But back to demand being up 120%. So more than double the need, double the price, have to buy 42% instead of 8.5%. That means there have been some weeks where we tracked what we spent on food the equivalent week the year before. I remember one particular week, I looked it up. In 19, we spent $12,300 on food. This year in the same week, we spent $500,000. And the next week, $500,000. So the good news is, and I think probably not surprising to an optimistic and encouraged audience like this, the generosity has kept pace. And we will finish the end of this month of the fiscal year with a surplus because we have to. Back to my comment about multi-year recovery. We've now taken that surplus revenue that's coming in and we've matched that to a spending trajectory that says somewhere past the end of 2021 or early 22, we will have gone through that surplus and maybe we'll get back into some budget realignment. So pretty phenomenal. And this is when you learn the talent and the value of your team. We've done this, we lost, as I said, 40% of the workforce through volunteers leaving, and we literally called out the National Guard. So we have quarantined a section of our building. That's part I think I probably didn't take you into, Jerry, but we've had between 45 and 72 National Guard soldiers at leaders, and across our 21 counties doing distribution. So we actually probably had some up here in distribution. So don't be worried. We're not invading. So, and if any of you know National Guard troops who are deployed, please thank them. It is phenomenal what they have done for us. They are literally the difference between us more than doubling the meals we provided and reducing. We've also hired, with some of the donations, and some donations specifically for that, for temporary workers. I'm sure you all know the hospitality industry in downtown Indianapolis came to a halt. Well, the temporary workers who are the base of the manpower at the convention center have been in Gleaners ever since, on our payroll. And just the nature of who are those hourly workers that are making that convention facility run, when that paycheck stopped, the next paycheck, they were going to be in our food lines. So we've helped them maintain that dignity of a paycheck, to take care of their families. We very quietly let them take boxes of food home to their families from our inventory. And you couldn't get a more motivated group who wants to take care of their neighbors. Am I okay with a couple minutes? Oh, you want me to switch to that? Okay, all right. So he knows me well. I've got you here at 8:30 in the morning. So hopefully, despite my rambling comments and maybe leaning more on the value of those that preceded me up here, you're motivated to make a difference. And certainly the need is there. And you know the value of that produce and what it does. Think of the nutritional impact, not just the meals, and how we can help people. And I'll do one government aside, right, since you're here. So the state budget deals with $1.1 billion a year in extra healthcare costs attributed to food insecurity, additional healthcare costs. I guarantee you, if you gave my fellow food bank leaders and I and the others, 10% of that would feed everybody all year. So if you're like me and you're reluctant to send those tax checks in, let's feed the hungry. Let's avoid that bill later. So, on your table, envelopes and cards. That's the quick and easy way to support. Please do. I don't know what the conversion ratio is up here, but for us, $1 is 5 meals. Amazingly efficient system to feed the hungry. So $1 can go a long way. Now, you have particular use for these dollars, right? We're going to buy a walk-behind tractor with the generosity that all of you will combine, and those at home can do at least half the lifting on those contributions. Oh, there's a picture. Even better. You know, when I lived in Burma and Thailand and traveled in China and so on, they've had versions of that for a long time. So a little better than the one with the water buffaloes. So $9,000 for the tractor and accessories. I have confidence in this room and those who are here virtually by extension that you can do that. There are cards on the table to do it. Adrian and I are trying to read the print. Oh, for those at home, you can fill out the cards. So they have cards at home that they can mail in?
In their carryout.
In their carryout. All right. So hopefully they didn't throw that away in their eagerness for the corn dessert. And if neither of those work and you want to deliberate, you can go to the home page and you can deliver that way as well. So I'll close by saying join Karen and me continuing to support Teter. Thank you.
Jensen here of Noblesville. Would you like to share a little bit about what tonight's meant to you?
First of
Anything
all,
new you learned?
well, I learned a lot. I was just talking with my wife about how that National Guardsmen during this pandemic were deployed to help food banks, which makes a lot of sense. You know, we saw here in Noblesville, I think there's at times a stigma that food insecurity isn't here, but you see it every day. We see it every day through programs, not only through Teter and what they provide, and through the different food banks that we have. Fueled for School, which is an incredible program that goes into our schools. It is a real issue, and it's an issue that we all face, and that issue of food insecurity doesn't discriminate. So I'm honored to be here. I appreciate all that you all do with Teter. The food was incredible tonight. I'm sure the folks at home got to enjoy that as well. I'm looking forward to this corn dessert, but on a very serious note, I think now more than ever, we all have to rally together to help combat food insecurity right here in Hamilton County and right here in Noblesville. So thank you. Thank you guys. Thanks everybody. Appreciate it.
All
right, thanks.
Thank you. All right. Let's go. Everybody hang with us. Let's go see Betsy Bullis. She's one of our volunteers. Puts in a lot of time out at Teter. Betsy, we're going to pick on you because I've seen you out at the farm a lot. So why do you volunteer out at Teter?
Well, I believe in what Teter stands for. I believe in the mission, but it's just so relaxing. I mean, it doesn't matter how hard I work. It just takes you away from everything else that's going on in the world. It's my happy place. Even if I'm knee deep in weeds and mud, and it doesn't matter. It's just, you feel like you're contributing something. And for someone who's retired, that's important. You know, you can only do so many jigsaw puzzles and that kind of thing, and it makes me feel like I'm contributing something.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate it. All right, let's go find Dace. Well, let's go speak with Amber Good real quick here. Amber, we saw you on one of the videos, but tell a little bit about your calling into environmental ministry.
Well, I would just like to, bring some programming or other events and ways for people to engage with nature and understand how the farm and the soil in the farm helps to, it just brings it all together. We are so dependent upon the life in the soil that we don't even think about. We tread upon it every day, and the forest, the woods, depends on that rich soil in order to grow. It's all related. We depend on all of that to live. We need it for our spiritual health. We need it for our physical health. And so finding ways to bring that all together for people is, I think, what is most important to me. And being able to connect that back to God is something that it just feels right to me. So.
Very good. Amber is working on a Master's Divinity degree at Christian Theological Seminary. We'll be finishing that in December, I understand. December 2021. Okay, got another year to go. If she gets that done, I'm looking forward to some new programming that she's going to be bringing to the Teter farm. So, see, we got Daystar Drillings over this table, right? Is that?
I believe so.
All right, let's go see why Daystar Drilling decided to be our title sponsor. Can I pick on you guys? This is the Daystar Drilling table, right? Right here, you guys? Well, you'd like to share a little bit what motivated you to be our title sponsor, which was a big help to us this year. Thank you so much. But what excites you about Teter? What motivated you to become that kind of sponsor?
Well, I'm actually an employee of those two fine gentlemen over there and then their wives. I honestly don't know. Jerry, you want to take this one?
Let's head over to Jerry. Sounds like he's the one that makes the decisions around here. So, yeah, I bet you didn't think you were signing on for this tonight, did you?
No, I'm not a people person.
That's okay.
So repeat your question.
Yeah. What motivated you to be a title sponsor for the Teter Farm? And thank you for doing that. It's
Teter's our neighbor, and we appreciate our neighbors, and it's pretty neat driving by and seeing everybody out there working every day. And the fact that we have people that go hungry in our neighborhoods and our backyards, what we can live so affluently the way we do is humbling. And so any way we can give back and help out, we try to do so.
Thank you. Well, appreciate it. Thanks for being here tonight. All right. Okay. Well, I tell you, it's 8:44, and I know those of you that signed on thought you signed on for 45 minutes, but I know you wanted to hear what John Elliott had to say. So thank you for being here. Thank you for some support, and we hope that you take advantage of those cards and envelopes at home, or go to the website. The Teter Organic Farm has a donate button there, and you can donate directly in that way as well. We want to get that walk-behind tractor this year. As John says, it's $6,000 for that tractor itself, and the implements that come with it are $3,000 more for a total of $9,000. So that's our dream, that we can raise enough money to get that done for next year so we can increase the food that we give to food insecure people.